Alright, this is Lord of the Flies, pages 100 through 137 guided tour. This is not everything that happens, it's more like some focal points on some major themes, things that you want to learn about human nature as you go through it. Alright, so Sam and Eric, we start off this section around page 100 with Sam and Eric racing down the mountain to report their encounter with the beast. And Jack immediately wants to hunt it, and they set off for the far point on the island to go get it right after they eat. They make it to the castle, which is a point of land. It's like the very end point of the island, and it's very rocky. And it gets down to a little narrow drawbridge. It's not a drawbridge, you can't draw it, but a little narrow rock bridge that goes out to it. So it's almost an island. It's an isthmus, and it's only got this little tiny land bridge to get over to it, right? So they make it to the castle. They waste a huge amount of time exploring what would be a great fort for kids to play capture the flag at. I mean, this thing's incredible. If you needed it for certain things, this thing it's up high, whereas you have to approach from down low. You have water on all sides of you as you're approaching. They could knock you off the bridge into the water. You have to go along the edge of a hill, like almost like a cliff, and you could get knocked off of that as you approach. I mean, they've got all the advantages. This is a great fort. That's the way they look at it, and they just think this is the coolest thing ever, and they spend a lot of time there, right? And the reader is reminded of the origins of procrastination, because these kids do not need this. I understand that, well, maybe they think they need to have a defensive position in case they get attacked by the beast. Okay, maybe they should go and find out if they're going to be attacked by the beast. Maybe they should be looking for a beast, not a fort. That's the problem. It's the origins of procrastination. Yes, this thing is useful, and when we've got something nasty to do or something we don't want to do, it's more fun to go and find the cool thing and spend time in the cool thing. But come on, you got to prepare to deal with this. They end up leaving, and they go on to try to find the main trail, which they're going to go and use to go up to the castle. They encounter a boar, which is the male of the pigs. Ralph wounds it, and it gets away, and Ralph feels accepted by the hunters because he tells them all about it, and they play act it out and stuff. They all want to go back to camp instead of go to the fire site at the top of the mountain, and they head towards the main trail. When they get there, Jack is goaded into checking the fire ring. It was a good idea early in the day, but now it is not really a good idea, and as a leader, he's saying so. It's getting dark. All the other kids are leaving to go back to camp. He knows they will be outgunned if they encounter the beast as it was described to him, but Jack is calling him fickle. Oh, you changed your mind back and forth. What kind of a leader are you? And you're scared. You just don't want to go, So he knows that Jack's going to call him fickle and scared if he doesn't climb the mountain now. But it's a bad idea. So he does it. He starts climbing the mountain, and he's led into doing a bad thing, and he's doing a stupid action because you've got to do this in order to still be believed to be a good leader. How dumb is this leader thing? So Ralph, Roger, and Jack go back up the mountain until Ralph's safety sense tells him, "Hey, dude, you're being a fool. The only reason why you're trying to lead is so that you can keep these people from doing stupid things like what you're doing right now." And he's like, I can't let Jack bully me into doing something stupid just so that I can maintain popularity and maintain leadership. No. So he refuses to go further, and Jack goes on. And it's really obvious that Jack thinks he's like won something, because he's going to go on and he's going to be able to tell everybody, I went on and Ralph didn't. I wasn't scared and Ralph was, and I fulfilled Ralph's plan, Ralph couldn't. Stuff like that. He's going to try to use this later. So he comes running back, and he's terrified of the beast. He's horrified at what he has seen. At this point, we're also reminded that fear is infected. It went from Sam and Eric seeing it down to the camp, and everybody gets scared of it. And then they go out looking for it, and they don't find it. And then they go up at the end of the day looking for it, And then they see it, and instead of being curious or surprised or wondering what the mystery is, they're terrified from it, because the fear that started so long ago in the little ones because they weren't getting the care they needed has now spread to everyone in the population of kids. They're all scared. So fear seems to infect, and groupthink seems to be a thing. And people seem to think that they are... their mental state seems to affect what they see. So there's so many things here, so many of these types of themes. That's why we're going over this little section that you can use. You can pick any one of those and you can say there's a bunch of symbols that point to this, and just write a short paper on it, and that's what we're after. So it's obvious. It should be obvious by now that not one character is thinking on their own for themselves without being influenced by the feelings of the group, because the whole group is, they've got a group think thing going on, and everybody knows that you've got to act a way, think a certain way, be a certain way, otherwise you're going to lose. There's these unwritten rules. There's written rules behind what it takes to be a leader, and then there's these unwritten ones, and they're all being followed here. Their mental states and imaginations in this pressure situation are causing them to see a monster where they should see a great opportunity. I mean, they really should. They should look at it and go, oh yeah! They should get all over that. And honestly, I mean, the average coyote is way better at this than these kids are, because an average coyote would see something like this and immediately go, oh, is that something to eat? It wouldn't be running away going, it's a monster, it's a beastie. It'd be going, is that an opportunity for me? Mine? to be reminded of the, from Finding Nemo, all the different, what are they, crabs or something? Mine? No, seagulls. Mine? They want to eat the crab. Mine? Is that mine? I mean, they'd be on it, but these kids are terrified and run the other way. So they wasted a ton of time and energy at the very cool but currently unneeded castle, and when Ralph does not credit Jack's hunters but calls them boys with sticks, Jack calls for a vote to remove Ralph as chief. I get it. He's very upset. How dare you insult his hunters, but they are boys with sticks. So the kids vote, and nobody wants to remove Ralph as chief, because all he's done is try to push his one agenda, which is safety and maturity, responsibility, to everybody. That's it, and they all know it's what they need to be doing. So nobody has a problem with him continuing to be leader. Jack, you'll notice at the end of this section, More Lessons About People, has tried to remove Ralph for a new reason. Before, Jack was trying to remove Ralph because Ralph was competition and Jack was ambitious. He wanted to be the leader. But now we see a different personal reason. It's personal anger is another reason that leaders try to remove others. But none of this is reason, competition. You're my competition. I have to remove you. Let's let the best man win. No, that's not Jack's way of playing. Let's cheat, or let's discredit him, or let's in some way knock him out of the competition so that I win. It doesn't matter how I win. It's all it matters is I win. He's willing to go there. He's willing to do anything to get to it, right? And one of them is just personal anger. Now I'm angry at you. You insulted me and my hunters. It's not a reason to remove a leader. I want to be a leader, so I want to remove you. That's not a reason to remove the leader. If the leader's doing a good job, that's not a reason to remove him. Just because you want power doesn't mean that's a reason to remove the leader. These are not reasons to remove leaders. It's not a legitimate reason to remove Ralph. None of these things. But Jack doesn't care how he removes Ralph as long as he removes Ralph. When nobody votes to remove Ralph, Jack runs away humiliated, inviting anyone who wants to come hunting with him to go, right? And throughout the day, all the hunters leave Ralph and join Jack. So we get to see who's the most popular. They go hunting, and they end up killing a pig very sloppily, and we go over that in a different video. And they put its head on a stick as an offering to the beast. The kids have realized that Ralph is the safe choice and that Jack is the fun one who provides the barbecue, right? The pig's head on a stick at this point represents the story of Jack using the beast as a means to take power. And the castle at this point represents the kids admiring the wrong thing, which is a protective castle they don't need. Fearing the wrong thing, which is a physical beast that they don't know exists, and we know it's dead. There's nothing to fear. Preparing for the wrong thing, which is being attacked by this beast without knowing anything about it. They don't need to defend against it. It's not going to attack them. And they're preparing in the wrong way. They're getting a defensive position together. They're looking at this castle as possibly a defensive position. They don't need it because they lack the understanding. It's dead. There's no need to defend from it. All of it comes back to lack of understanding, and none of them want to go get the knowledge that they have to, because that would mean going up and not running away from this beast, but looking it over, walking up to it, spending some time up there, facing your fears. If they had faced their fears, they wouldn't have lost an entire day and burned a lot of energy over nothing. The most unpleasant thing on this island is now what an adult would do first, go up the mountain and find out what that thing is. This is now the last thing any of the kids want to do, and Jack is going to make offerings to it, right? And that will be his job, to offer pig heads to the beast to keep them all safe. Jack is going to feed and protect all of them. This episode shows how unneeded institutions, like Jack cutting the heads off of pigs and worshipping a beast, it's totally unnecessary. It shows how unneeded institutions can become established in society. Oh, but it's scary. Oh, it's too powerful to deal with. Now we just placate it. It doesn't even have to be scary. It could just be, well, it's too big of a mess to sort out now. We'll just put a Band-Aid on it. And that's what this is. This is putting a Band-Aid on it. Instead of going and confronting it and finding out what it is, let's offer it pig heads on sticks. Okay. There's a lot of stuff in this section about people. You just got to look at all of it and just assume that every little action is like a lesson on how people behave and how they act and why they do what they do. And when you look at all these little sections, you can find lots and lots of themes. Every one of these things about people, it's, people procrastinate. People would rather do something that's pleasant than something that's unpleasant, even if they feel a sense of danger from the unpleasant thing. You can use lots of examples in that. They're going off and they're playing around in the castle when they should be trying to find this beast. They're going off and they're going hunting when they should be gathering water, and they should be doing these things. They should be keeping the fire going. There's lots of examples. All you have to do is pick a theme, find one theme that you like the sounds of that's working, and then just start using all of the examples of how things are proving that it happens throughout the story. And that's what we're doing. Alright, so this should help us pretty good with this section up to 137. The next section is going to be next week. See you then.